It's time for the Movin The Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
Welcome in to Movin The Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps, Jerel, Hendricks, back on the board here for our state championships and season recap as a whole live show tonight. John, we were all down in Orangeburg, at least for part of the weekend. Last week saw 6 games, 2 really good ones, a couple that kind of got in a hand, a couple of decent ones as well. But man, overall, some great football down there at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium.
Yeah, incredible quarterback play all weekend. Really exciting time for high school football in the state of South Carolina. Some really good talent, some young talent too. We saw some 10th graders and 11th graders really show out weekend of champions and really all year long.
Yeah.
So a deep talent pool we have here in the state right now. It's a good time to be involved with high school football here.
Yeah, so tonight we're going to go through kind of just a quick overview of those games. As always, feel free to chime in, give us your thoughts as well. We've got a couple of topics, too, we'll break down to kind of talk about the season as a whole, to kind of go over some of our favorite games or favorite players or whatnot. So we'll go over that as well. Jerel and I will have our recap podcast coming out later on this week. We'll be a more in-depth dive into those state title games. But tonight will be more of an overview. But as always, guys, follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Website is movinchains.com, podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We've got great content still coming out, trying to post some of these interviews and whatnot. I got most of them out already on Facebook and X, but haven't got them quite over to TikTok and YouTube yet. So working on slowly getting all these out from the weekend as we have lots of great content. Typically we do our preview shows on Tuesday. Those will be done now for the year until next season. We will have a lot of new coach interviews coming out soon enough, some player interviews as well, and lots of other cool stuff throughout the off season. But get your Movin The Chains merch just in time for the holidays. Some great hats, Richardson hats here. A gray front with a black back and a gray back. We got a black front one up here as well. Some great toboggans. I could have used one of these on Thursday. It was freezing down there, a black and gray one. Some great T-shirts as well, a black T-shirt, a gray T-shirt, a navy blue, and a pink. Order today. Get yours for Christmas. Love to have you support the boys along with our hoodies as well. Kind of the ash stone color here. We've got a logo front, logo back. Really good looking stuff, really high quality stuff too. I wore my hoodies all weekend long because I needed them and it felt great out there, man. But John, any other thoughts just, as we get rolling here into this show?
No, let's get into it.
Perfect. Let's start, Jerel and John, let's go up. Let's start with the 1A state title game. This game was played on Thursday night. Abbeville took down Cross 58-20. A result that honestly most folks probably saw coming, John. Abbeville was the prohibitive favorite all year long in 1A. We thought that maybe a Lamar or a Louisville may have a shot to knock them off. Once they got past those rounds of the playoffs, I think we kind of saw the writing on the wall. And, man, that Abbeville speed, that Abbeville size really, really showed up big on Thursday night.
Yeah, and I was really impressed by the offense. Cross had played incredibly good defense all year long. And, second quarter, Abbeville was off to the races. Really got to see, had not gotten to see Abbeville play all year. Gamecocks are getting a really good athlete in Leach.
Man, I did not realize how tall he was. He has got some good size on him too, man.
All over the field.
he was electric at that quarterback spot. Also, he'll play DB for Carolina. He had a pick in the game too, along with some big touchdown runs there. He had a big game. Lewis Haddon, the Baylor kid, Carson Norman, all showed up big. But hats off to Cross, man. You could just tell from when you saw him line up, pregame, the depth. They had way less, players for one than Abbeville did. But you got some good performances still. Caden Ramsey played really well for Coach Wright's bunch, along with Carmelo Jones. He actually had a great touchdown run early on to give him a lead off the bat. We're like, you know what? Here goes Big Cross hanging around. But after a while, man, just Abbeville, too much firepower. They just continued to press and press and press, and Cross just could not answer the bell all game long like they needed to there. And like I said, you just had a great performance from Leach and some of those guys in the backfield, and it was a lot of fun to watch them get after it and see how it went. And just, great season for Cross. They had been kind of knocking on the door, getting the state title last few years, finally get over that hump and make it there for Coach Wright. Had a fantastic season, just didn't quite have enough firepower. But, now for Abbeville, they become, I think, 13 state titles, second most in the state in history. Really cool to see. Coach Nichols, I believe, got his 9th, I think was the stat from last week. I don't have it in front of me now, but really awesome to see what he's done with that program, man. He's built, just built a team that you expect to be there every single year.
Yeah, and they expect it too. And not only do they get there, they blow the doors off of people on their way, and obviously in the title game too.
They certainly do. Jerel, any thoughts from you or from the chat on this game? Like I said, we'll break it down more in depth on our podcast. It'll come out later on this week. But any quick, just high level breakdowns from you or anything, comments we need to say hello to in the chat?
Extremely low level from me on this one, but just
everything you do is high level, Jerel. Come on now.
Yeah, sure, that's a lie. No, Abbeville, just we kind of circled them going into this as the team to beat, and obviously for good reason. We thought that most of the talent when it came to the playoff time would be in the upper state, but just want to commend Cross and Coach Wright for his good season, like you mentioned. Just been knocking on the door, finally broke through. Playing in that state title game is big for his program and big for those kids. One of the most impressive athletes I saw was Caden Ramsey, though, this week for Cross. Got a Georgia Tech offer yesterday, so good for him. Big kid, gonna be good. Hopefully, he sticks around. They can get everything figured out there, and I think Cross is poised for another run next year. But Abbeville, just too much. But it was a decent showing by Cross. They performed as best they could, but Abbeville just doing what they do.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. The teams we had not seen yet this year. Getting to see them in person was really cool. And also got to see a lot of great folks from Abbeville we always see. So definitely got to enjoy checking them out. Kevron, good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Gotta expand the merch here.
I like the idea there. Man, to put in an order to some car window decals. That would be cool to get some MTC stuff on the road. That'd be really cool. I like that idea a lot. I actually made a note here on my paper about that. Anything else on the 1A game there, Joe, before we move up to the 2A ranks?
Let's go to 2A.
In 2A, this is the opening game of the weekend, John. The Thursday afternoon tilt. Clinton defeated Barnwell 35-6, a game that kind of got out of hand late, but could not have started any hotter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was busy with pesky work, and I got to the game, or got logged in to watch the game pretty shortly after kickoff. It was already 8-6. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing it here. But yeah, I was surprised at the end result, but Clinton is, this was their year.
Yeah.
And it was, you love to see Barnwell do well. Barnwell to win state championship had been great too, but it was good to see Clinton reach the pinnacle this year after the tough luck that they've had the last few years with injuries. I felt like this program deserved a state championship as much as anybody in Orangeburg this weekend, and it was good to see them come out and play a A+ game in the state championship. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, another team that has been knocking on the door. A couple of years back, they lose to Powdersville in the upper state title game. Last year, they play a tough BHP team, lose to them late. I think that was round 3 as well. So they made some nice runs in the playoff. This year coming down to 2A, able to get it done there. But yeah, the game starts off, I think, second play from scrimmage to Sean Richardson for Clinton, goes to the house there, a long touchdown run. And then Jaquan Peoples runs the kickoff right back for Barnwell. Man, I was like, this is nuts what's going on here. But sadly, that was, the majority of the fireworks for the Warhorses. They could not really get much going offensively. They just couldn't really handle that Clinton front, it felt like. They kind of bullied him around up front a little bit there and could not get the pass game or the run game going. You're looking back at it, and I think one thing they could have tried is maybe throw the ball down the field a little bit more, kind of,
Yeah.
loosen them up. But that's hard to say. Obviously, 2020 hindsight there to say. But, Clinton, it felt like, honestly, like, Barnwell's defense didn't play bad. Like kind of kept them in the ball game, just couldn't get that, enough momentum on offense to kind of be able to make some big plays to kind of stick around there late.
Yeah. And, Clinton just doesn't have weaknesses.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it all year long. I felt really good about their chances when they blew up on Batesburg-Leesville in the second half of that game. They beat Batesburg-Leesville. They treated them like nobody had all year long. That was really impressive. Just a good, again, you have to be a well-rounded team to win state championship. And Clinton is exactly that, a very dangerous offense and really stingy defense. And it was good to see him put it all together really all year long.
Yeah.
And hats off to them for the season too, for the scheduling, because they had a very, very tough schedule. And I think that was a big reason why they were able to be so competitive and win against some top level competition during the playoffs too, because it wasn't new to them.
Yeah.
They played the high level all year long.
Certainly earned it. Got big games from Richardson at quarterback, from Gilliam and Cook and Clark running the ball. Swindler had a big touchdown catch. Defensively, Young and those guys there did a great job. Just a great performance from Coach Fountain's bunch. I think that's his third state title now. 2 at Lamar, 1 at Clinton. His first one there at the program, first since 2009 for that community. Great to see. And they showed out, man. Had a great crowd as well on Thursday. Love to see that. For Barnwell, a team that had a great run. We were high on them early on throughout the year. Had the one kind of weird loss to South Aiken going into this game, but really played good and bounced back from that. Some stud players there, Love Peoples and Brown and Austin and all those guys there just couldn't quite get it done on Thursday. But Jerel, comments from you in that 2A matchup or from the chat, just a game that kind of got out of hand there late, it felt like.
Cool thing for us, I'll say the storyline here is we saw both of these teams play week 0. You don't get to see that, so that was awesome. Clinton, man, just got a hats off to those guys, man. Just flawless performance, really, outside of the special teams. Hate that you don't get the shutout there because you give up a kickoff touchdown. I know Coach Campbell's probably had some sleepless nights thinking about it, but nice concession getting that trophy though. But just Clinton, they went on a huge run throughout the playoffs. So probably the most dominant playoff run of everybody, regardless of class, this Red Devils team here. So they earned it for sure. Going to Barnwell, man, they also had a great crowd, also had a target on their back all year. I mean, they withstood all the punches, had a tough one against Jerel, and had to bounce back to get to this point, but just didn't have the horses, no pun intended, to keep up with Clinton in this game.
Yeah, certainly a lot of fun out. Anything from the chat on that 2A matchup, Jerel? Red Devils, baby, says Wesley. Hey, man, you boys earned it. That was a heck of a playoff run, a great win. Hats off to you and the team. How are you supposed to play with run they had? I mean, you guys ran the gauntlet. You certainly did. From Batesburg really to Fairfield to now to Barnwell. It's huge there. Trey Aiken, go Big Red. Love it, man. That offensive line there was tough. I know you guys are a big part of that one for sure. Chris, good seeing you, buddy. Appreciate you being here as always as we wrap up the season. Anything else on 2A, Jerel?
That's all we've got here.
Perfect. Well, since we're moving kind of quick, let's go and go to 3A before we shout out some friends. We'll do 3A right quick as well. This was the Saturday afternoon matchup, the noon showdown here. Oceanside Collegiate taking down BHP 35-17. Back-to-back titles for the Land Sharks. John, last year in 2A, they win a thriller over Gray Collegiate. This year they moved to 3A with the multiplier, and they handle a good BHP team honestly pretty easily. The offense for them gets all the love with Aiden Monavian and Virgilio and Gaspar and Johnson and those guys. But that defense, I was really impressed with the way they kind of, you can't say bottled up Henderson because he still had like 180 yards, but they didn't let him break that long one, and I think that was really the key to the game. Yeah,
I got the pleasure to see Belton-Honea Path play. I guess that was the third time I got to see them play in person this year. I saw them play Broome to start the season, and then against Westside. Obviously Westside was able to control that game, but saw him play the MVP as well.
4 times.
Yeah, 4 times.
BHP super fan, right?
Yeah. And, Henderson he's going to break out. He's going to have some big runs. Mountain View did a great job balling him up last week, but he still had those big runs. And, I don't know that he had a carry over 15 yards.
Yeah. If he did, it wasn't much more. Yeah.
It was not only a good job by the Oceanside defensive line, but their linebacker core. And boy, they are massive. There's some big guys back there. And they played really well. They tackled really well. And you could tell Oceanside was a team very well coached.
Yeah.
On their assignments, guys are where they're supposed to be, offensively and defensively, doing what they need to do. It was impressive to watch in special teams.
Yeah.
They stole possession on a kick, a short kick that was not fielded. I say not fielded. It wasn't fielded because they didn't have time to really. The ball landed, boom, they're all over it. And that's the kind of program they are. And we see a lot of those programs here in the Weekend of Champions taking home the hardware because it sounds simple to be fundamental, right? And, do your assignments. It's easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And Oceanside's one that does it as good as anybody else in the state.
Certainly. Just, crazy what they had overcome too. Obviously, they ran the state last year 1-2A. This year, they lose their coach early on. They go through a gauntlet playing, two big studs from Georgia. They play Dutch Fork. They play Irmo, kind of take some lumps early on. Like I mentioned, the new coach comes in. They just get better and better and better throughout the season, man. Coach Patterson and Coach LaPrade, what they did there kind of at the helm, filling in for Coach Wilkes there. Really impressive how they kept that group together and kept them getting playing better and better throughout the season. I was trying to look up on the stats here because at one point, really in the second half, where it felt like BHP may have had a chance to kind of get back into it. I believe the score was 21-14 after a BHP rushing touchdown. Oceanside comes out, throws a pass, gets tipped and picked off. In Oceanside Collegiate territory, they're not able to score. Have to settle for a field goal, like to 21-17. Oceanside comes back, answers right away. 46 seconds later, they score a touchdown pass to go up 11 again. That's all she wrote. So they had a chance late to kind of get back into it, late third, early fourth. But it never really felt in doubt, I would say. It felt like Oceanside kind of controlled it the whole way, man, what they did offensively.
They were always a step ahead. And Chris, to answer your question, Noah Thomas going out early in that game for BHP. And honestly, I don't think it's much different of a game.
Yeah.
BHP, obviously, they just pound the ball. And it was the left side as well.
Yeah.
And, I think everybody in the stadium knew what was coming. And the BHP offensive lines, they stepped up. They played a good job, did well they were getting first downs, moving the ball down the field. I think having your starting quarterback back there at least gives keeps the defense honest and, got to respect the passing game. But really, the Bears moved the ball better.
I was going to say
in the second half than they did the first half.
Yeah, when they went to Wildcat with Henderson, I thought they actually had more success in the second half. So I don't think that was really obviously, you want to play your full game with the quarterback, of course. But I feel like that was not the deciding factor. It was more about the quarterback on the other side, Monavi, and how Oceanside Collegiate could not stop him. I mean, they, and it was something I asked him about the game after all. It's like, you guys, a lot of times 4 wide, 5 wide, like even in short yard situations, he's like, yes, that's what we do. Like, I guess they trust him to make the right reads, make the right calls. And it's tough to defend because you don't see a whole lot of teams doing that, really. I mean, like they do. I mean, I looked at you guys, I think it was third and 1 in the first quarter, like around midfield. And they're going 5 wide. I was like, this is different, boys. Like, you don't see that a whole lot there.
And they got the first down, too.
Yeah, exactly. So what they do offensively is so tough to stop. And I think, Belton-Honea didn't quite have the defense, especially on the back end, to keep up with all those weapons they had. I think that was the difference. And just the Land Sharks had too much firepower, man. That was really impressive to watch them work on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and it was just it wasn't like they had bad coverage, just a perfect pass, a good route, good receivers.
Yeah.
It's hard to defend.
Yeah.
You just there's not much you can do about that. And that was the first quarterback performance of the weekend that was I say the weekend from 1A, 2A, and then 3A. Monavian over at Oceanside really put on a show. I'm trying to look up his numbers.
I know it's 300 plus.
I mean, he had an incredible game. His completion percentage had to been like 80, 85%.
Yeah, I mean, there's one pass, I think maybe the last touchdown kind of on a post or a slant there where he throws it, I think, over 2 defenders between another defender just in the perfect spot there to Gaspar, I believe it was. Just a nuts throw. that you don't see a lot of the high school level, especially out of a sophomore. Very impressive there. But Jerel, any other comments on 3A from you or from the chat about that ball game with the Land Sharks and the Bears?
You guys got it covered for the most part, and I agree. With your question from Chris, I don't really think it makes much of a difference. It was more about what the Oceanside offense could do, because at the end of the day, you're going to try to get the ball in the three's hands. I think it maybe a game plan thing that kind of throws you off for a little bit. Get maybe a possession or two to adjust not having your quarterback, but at the end of the day, you're trying to get the ball to three, so maybe you're trying to throw him the ball, screen passes, some stuff downfield or something like that, but I don't think it makes much difference. It just couldn't be. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jerel, too, I believe, Johnny, remember too, it kind of happened towards the end of the first half, right? It's like, I think luckily for them, they went into the break at time to kind of adjust there, and it wasn't like on the fly, early first quarter, early third quarter, anything like that as well.
It was the last drive of the first half.
Yeah.
Because we saw Henderson gingerly coming off the field to go into the locker room.
Yeah, it's crazy to say this.
Quarterback.
I think Aiden might have been the best player on the field, and that's crazy to say with Marquez Henderson in the football game, but he's just so confident, just knows what to do, knows how to run that system, and just so accurate with the football. I think he was 21 for 26, over 300 plus and 4 touchdowns, and the one pick he threw was a tip ball.
There's another drop over a touchdown as well at one point.
So yeah, man, he's the brighter the lights for that kid, the better he plays, and it's just crazy to see. He's only a sophomore. BHP, that was their shot because they're going to have so much to replace next year. But just kudos to Oceanside. They just dealt with so much adversity, just took every punch, and here they are again. They're the school that moved up and won a state title here. So they'll probably be in 4A in 2 years. We'll see what happens there. But congrats to the Land Sharks. They got it done.
Perfect. Anything else from the chat there, Jerel, 3A, before we shout out some friends of the program?
Just Chris's comments here.
Couldn't stop the pass. Yeah, I think exactly, Chris. I think that was the issue there. Just on the back end, you didn't have enough, guys to match up with what they had going.
And we'll have to expand to North Carolina. We got.
I know they're playing 71st. I'm not super familiar with 71st. I don't want to say one way or the other. I don't know tell you about that.
I don't know anything about West Charlotte.
Yeah,
former school of Tommy Knott's there. So
okay,
do you want a state title there in North Carolina with West Charlotte?
There we go. Sorry, we don't have anything more for you there, buddy.
But yeah, that's all the comments we got for 3A.
Perfect. Friends of the program, let's shout them out.
Let's do it.
A single moment can ignite a passion. With every play, a spirit of teamwork is forged, and determination evolves into success. Life is the ultimate team sport, and a trusted teammate makes all the difference. Our team at Founders Federal Credit Union works hard every day to offer the financial tools you need, backed by unrivaled member service. Relax, you're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. Looking now at one of the better games of the weekend, if not the best game of the weekend, John, 4A, and that was South Florence taking down Westside 42-41, an absolute thriller of a ball game. We saw two very contrasting styles, a run-heavy South Florence Bruins team, a pass-heavy Westside Rams team, and I'll say it, this is now 2 years in a row we've seen this matchup, and all three of us have gotten it wrong both times. Maybe the third time's a charm, John. We'll see if we get next year or not.
Who knows? Who knows? But if we can get a third game as good as the first two, I don't care if I get the game wrong or not. That was incredibly fun to watch on a Friday night. And I tell you what, it's, you hear coaches say it all the time. Games come down to, maybe one or two plays. And right here, perfect case right there. Two teams, extremely good.
Yeah.
And, South Florence, talk about redemption. They get beat by Hartsville early in the season, got beat by Hartsville. Wasn't even close. In the playoffs, they return the favor, kind of beat up on blowout Hartsville, and then get redemption against Westside in the state championship. It was incredible to watch. Another Sellers wins a state title. A very impressive game for him, and the receiver as well.
For
7.
Oh, Bomar? No, for who?
For South Florence.
Messiah Jackson?
Yeah,
quarterback.
Jackson had a great game. Great game as well.
Yeah, and just a team that got better and better and better, John. They took their lumps early on, lost to Summerville, lost to Northwestern, and just continued to get better, man, and play their best football down the stretch there. That run game with Gilbert and Jackson and Leonard was just impressive. I think 2 of those guys had over 100 yards, I think, on Friday. Friday night that game was. On the flip side, Westside, I mean, that was one of the better and most impressive offensive showings we've ever seen. Like what they did offensively. Cutter Woods, 11 completions for 400-plus yards, 6 touchdowns. Bomar, just a crazy stat line, 4 for 200-plus and 4 touchdowns. Weaver, a big touchdown. Evans, a big touchdown. But I think at the end, the detriment was they may have scored too fast. Like, they kept putting their defense back on the field. Defense got a little bit worn down there late. I thought there was a chance, second quarter, I thought Westside could have kind of ended the game. I believe they were up 21-7 late in the half. They got the ball back. If they go score, they go up 3 scores. There's probably curtains there. They don't. They have to punt. South Florence comes out, scores right before the half, gets the ball out of the half, scores again to tie it up, and we were on from there. And I think that was the difference. That one possession there where they couldn't quite get anything going, that was the one that really changed the tide in that ball game, because if they go up 28-7, I think it's over right there, but they couldn't do it. South Florence answers back. Defense makes just enough plays. They get a big 3-and-out late in that game. Maury Adams gets a sack on 3rd down. They take their first lead. They drive down to take the lead to score. I mean, Westside gets the ball and scores one play later. Just nuts on a touchdown pass to Bomar. They go for 2 with just over 2 minutes left. Run the Philly special. Pass falls incomplete.
Ball gets tipped.
A place we talked about for years. Like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Was it the right play call? Was it not the right play call? What do you do there? I mean, that's a play that is going to be talked about. I mean, honestly, I said, for years to come.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's crazy that the game is decided that way. But hats off to the South Florence defender too, to get a hand on that football. Because if he does not do that, we may be talking about a Westside state championship winning 43-42 with, again, one of the craziest calls, or not craziest, but wildest, deciding factors of a game. And I want to just share a couple numbers here. I talked about quarterback play. Mm-hmm. We all know Cutter Woods, as good as he is. 11 completions Friday night. 421 yards, 6 touchdowns. Now, Messiah Jackson on the other side, he was 9 for 11.
Yeah.
Threw 3 touchdowns himself, 147 yards, added 45 on the ground.
2 more touchdowns.
2 more scores. So just incredible play from those 2 guys. And that's what you got to have. You got to have those kind of performances from your best players to win state championships. And, it was fun to see those teams duel it out. But, obviously South Florence making more of their hay on the ground with that 3-headed rushing attack. Just an awesome game. That's part of the reason why we do this.
Yeah.
Why we enjoy going to these games. And, I was as confident about Westside winning this game as almost any of the games this weekend. And, goes to show, sports it's just great. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and even after not getting the 2-point conversion, they did get the ball back.
Yeah.
They didn't get the 2-point didn't get the onside kick. They had a couple timeouts, and I believe one of the balls or one of the plays actually stripped the ball, but it goes out of bounds so they could recover it. So this clock still stops. They get the ball back with 40-something seconds left at the 1-yard line. Just an unbelievable punt too from Jack to stop at the 1. And Westside, I think it's 1 first down, but can't really get anything going after that. They're trying to kind of obviously, force it and press it downfield there. But just a great ball game there. I know it's something that, like I said, we'll go more in depth on our recap show that comes out, the podcast version. But just a great ball game, if not the best of the weekend, one of the top 2 of the weekend for sure. Jerel, thoughts from you? Thoughts in the chat on that one? This will be talked about for a long time, man.
Yeah, just a 12-round heavyweight fight here between, two great teams, two great coaches as well. Just got to give a shout out to Coach Marlowe here before I go into it, man. We last saw him, last year, talking to his underclassmen on that sideline, making them watch the trophy presentation, soak it in. He got criticism for it, kind of went viral too, on social media. And how much did that benefit and pay off, in the offseason program throughout the season, that lesson that those kids learned who won this state title game, on Friday night. Just a hell of a game. I don't know, man. The staff that just I can't get over is how efficient that Westside offense was. They had the ball for 9 minutes and 15 seconds in this game and scored 41 points. Yeah. That is unreal stuff. Ran the ball 9 times. I want to say 5 of those were Cutter Wood scrambles. Yeah. I mean, just absolutely insane. But South Florence just stuck to their plan. Made enough stops on defense. I think they made 3 stops, a critical one to end the game, and just was able to take care of business. Sign me up for round 3 next year. Let's go ahead and just run this back.
What's crazy? We talked about the run game for South Florence. A big key, though, was Jaden Sellers catching the ball. He caught 3 touchdowns. I believe. I know one was on a 4th down. Yes. Just him getting those
wheel
big
route
plays there in the pass game. That was really the difference maker.
Yeah.
Westside could not stop that wheel route. I mean, they had one called back. I think it was 4th down.
It was 4th down.
4th and 15, pushed them back, and they ran the same play and scored on it still. I mean, it was unbelievable stuff.
Certainly was. Any comments from the chat there, Jerel, on that 4A game? Chris says Westside scores at the end and he gets going for 2. Why not put it in Cutter's hands? Yeah, and that's kind of one of the questions there, Chris. Like, if you go for 2, don't go for 2, whatever. But yeah, you're right. Cutter hadn't been stopped all game. Hard to not give him the football there. But yeah, a lot of folks saying they would have kicked it as well. So I can see both sides of it. Chris says 21-7 drop TD. And I think I remember that now. Yes, they were up 2 scores and they dropped one on that drive that would have been another touchdown. End up having to punt, and that's kind of the game changer there, Chris. Couldn't get a stop on 4th down. Yeah, I mean, you had chances. For sure to do that. Jerel just mentioned the Jaden Sellers touchdown on 4th down. If you hold them there, that's another 7 off the board for sure.
One play makes a difference.
Yeah, man, it was huge. And again, I want to say, man, I know Coach Lane's getting killed for that, not going for the 1. I have no problem with that. I love being aggressive in those situations, especially with your offense, the way that it clicked all night. I just don't like the play call. That's the only problem I have with it. Like Chris mentioned, let Cutter, if you're going to do it, put the ball in 12's hands and let him figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, any other thoughts on the 4A game from the chat, Jerel?
Nothing else from the chat, guys.
Let's look now at the other great game of the weekend, the 5A Division II matchup, the nightcap on Saturday. Northwestern defeating Irmo 34-31. Last second 27-yard field goal from Matthew Fish. John, we said it a lot on the preview show. We've said it all year long, really. When it comes down to these big games, you got to have your stars make plays. And boy, for both sides, they do it. We saw A.J. Brand, Donovan Murph have huge games for Irmo. And then for Northwestern, Finley Polk goes off. Cameron Vance has a huge game. Just unreal to watch from the playmaking that we saw on Saturday night.
Yeah, and this is another game where the quarterback play was absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. Finley Polk, this guy, he went 33 for 39, 428 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. A.J. Brand on the other end, he added 4 touchdowns himself, 2 on the ground, 2 through the air. Just incredible performances for both quarterbacks. And, really, I feel like the difference in this game was the first drive of the game.
Yeah.
Irmo gets the football, and I don't know. I don't even know they got in a first down yet.
Maybe the second play, I believe.
Second play, maybe. Brand rolls out to the right, and a defender just makes a great swipe, swats the ball out of Rand's hands. Northwestern gets on it. They score, and, they stole that possession, and that's what made the difference. And really, for Irmo, it's kind of bad luck too, because the way the timing of the game went, Northwestern had the ball last. Had Irmo been in that situation, tied or even down 3 and gotten a chance to get the ball with a little bit of time, I think they could have gone down the field and done the exact same thing, either kick the field goal to tie the game or score a touchdown to win. It was truly one of those games where last team that has the ball probably going to win the game. And it was funny. We talked about how man, this should be a high-scoring game. Should be a lot of offense. And, first half, pretty low scoring.
Like, oh, buddy.
there's some penalties on both sides. Some, there's a little bit of sloppy play here and there. But that fourth quarter, both sides certainly, both offenses turned up the intensity and really performed to their to the billing. And just just an awesome game. Well coached on both sides. And it was hard to see. It was great to see Northwestern win. I felt like it was their time last year. They got knocked out early on. I guess it was the Upper State semifinals. They got knocked out. But, a little bit of a revenge tour for the Trojans. But then, for me, I want to see Irmo do really well too. Have not won a state championship. I think
80, I believe it was. Yeah.
First time they've been since I want to say 2003, the Trey Rogers year, George Rogers' son. I was at that game. They played Rock Hill. Could not get it done against Rock Hill. But, you like to see Irmo do well. And awesome crowd. Northwestern side really packed out their side. It was a good, intense game. It was fair. It was clean. Just hats off on both sides all the way around. Really, really fun game to watch.
Yeah, definitely had some penalties early on, but that kind of got taken care of second half. And I think the key play in this one, John, I think was Irmo has a 7-point lead. They finally get a lead there. I believe it was fourth quarter. Northwestern's driving in. They have a 4th and 15 around the 23 or so yard line. They go for it. Finley Polk somehow fits one in on a post route between 3 defenders. Man, just a great pass. Could not have thrown any better. Couldn't have better coverage either. Fits it in there. They go down inside the 5 or so. They score on a touchdown pass to Cam Vance a play or two later there to tie it up. Huge there. They get another stop. They go down and score, take the lead. Irmo comes back. You get a big run from Brand, I think maybe on 4th down, or if not, it was on 3rd down to get them down that situation. They throw a one-on-one deep ball to Donovan Murphy, who catches his second touchdown of the game with 1:43 left. And talking to Coach, Walford after the game, he said they left too much time. He's like, we felt confident, like we knew we had timeouts. It was a great performance there from them. Just nice passes to Vance or Nichols or whoever on that last drive to get down there. And then I was a little surprised, honestly, that they kind of settled for the field goal. I thought they might try to throw it in the end zone a couple times. They didn't. They ran the clock down, had faith in Matthew Fish, and he drills it, man. It would have been good from 45, it felt like there. Awesome to see a kid come through in a big moment like that. A lot of times kickers get overlooked, and he was a huge part of winning that ball game on Saturday.
And there were a couple timeouts too. I mean,
that's right. That's right.
Iced over there, and I ran behind the field goal post to film it, and I'm standing there during the timeouts going, and I was probably at maybe 10 feet behind the field goal post. So I'm thinking, man, I'm going to be holding my phone up filming this. What am I going to do when the ball's coming right at? And I do. Try to duck out of the way. Do I put the phone down, try to catch it? And I mean, that ball was 30 feet over my head. He bombed it.
Yeah. Heck of a kick.
It was a no doubter for sure.
And one thing I want to shout out to, I think it's overlooked a lot of times in high school football. The field goal blocking unit for Northwestern. A lot of times we see when these games come down to big kicks like this, they get blocked or they get pressure on them because, it's not really the best operation. A lot of times the snapper, the holder, somebody misses the block, whatever. Northwestern, man, when you know the Irmos are giving all they got to come block that kick, that was a heck of a job to let Fish have time to get it off there and drill it. So really a great ball game. You have two programs that are heading in the right direction. When Coach Walford took over, Northwestern was having some downtimes. They really were. He's done a great job building them back up. They've been really strong the last couple of years to get that state title this year. Coach Brand as well at Irmo, what he has done with that program, like you mentioned, John, they had some down years as well, and they are on the trajectory heading up right now. Got some pieces to replace next year, of course, but
they got some young kids.
They have a lot of a really good sophomore class. It feels like Jaden Bryant, Amir White, and those guys there. I believe the receiver Malik. I want to say Malik Miller. I was thinking Malik Murphy, but I think that's the Duke quarterback. So Malik Miller, he's a sophomore as well, I believe. So they got a lot of studs coming back there for Coach Brand. So two programs that will be a lot of fun to watch in the coming years. And we've got to mention this. Maybe the play of the weekend, the one-handed Cam Vance snag.
That was awesome.
He makes a one-handed catch, shakes off a defender, another tackle shakes it off, takes off down the sideline. One of the better in-person catches I've seen since we've been doing this.
And it was over the middle of the field, too. He reached up like this, totally exposed himself. That's you see a lot of receivers in that situation kind of trying to protect
alligator arm a little bit,
Man, not that kid. He just snagged it. You talking to him after the game, he said, hey, this is what I do.
Yeah, great interview from him, man.
Yeah,
It was really fun.
But that was an awesome catch, and at a big time.
Yes.
I was in the fourth quarter too. A big time in the game as well.
It was one of those. We were standing on the home side, the Irmo side there, and we're actually fairly close to Nick Eamon-Worry at that point. And I saw him make that play, and Nick's like, when you can wow an All-American, with a play, that's pretty cool to happen. But a great play from Vance. Jerel, thoughts from you or the chat on this 5A Division I absolute thriller we saw on Saturday?
Yeah, my only thought is I'm pissed I missed this one. I had to go home, so leave a little bit earlier. This is the only one of the weekend that I've missed. But, man, what a game. Another one, man. These kids they stood at the 50 and just kept throwing haymakers at one another, man. Just a great game. Deserved overtime, but, Fish had to put it through the pipe, so we didn't get that. They walked it off. That's fantastic for him. What a moment. I mean, for a high school kicker to win a state championship like that is absolutely amazing because, I particularly don't like kickers, I'll say that, but Fish put it through the pipe, so that's fantastic. But man, just a great game. Quarterback performances just unreal. Northwestern's got the best receiving core in the state. I don't think there's any debate about that. I mean, those guys just continue to make plays.
Westside, honestly, and I think Northwestern may have a few more guys, but those are the two top for sure.
Yeah, it's 1A and 1B, I guess, if we want to split hairs there. But I mean, just high level football from everybody involved, including the coaching staffs there. I picked Irmo to win this game. I thought Irmo would be able to make some plays on defense that would separate them. But you mentioned at that fourth down play when they had the lead, they had all the momentum there. You had a fourth down in the red zone, and they just could not get that stop because Polk to Caldwell, I want to say there to get that first down. That was what completely flipped the momentum back to the Trojans, who held it early, and it was kind of curtains from there. They were kind of destined to win, but just a heck of a game from both of these guys, and I just hate that I missed it. I was watching on the phone as much as I could, and then I listened to the radio broadcast. They do a fantastic job, Northwestern, calling those games. So really appreciate them, going down there and calling that game. But so much fun in this one, and you hate to see a loser. That's how good it was.
Yeah,
for sure. What is the chat saying about that matchup, Jerel?
Let's see what we got here.
Probably the best game and best QB matchup last 3 to 4 years. Certainly one of them, Chris. I mean, that was an all-timer. And just you mentioned that you typically don't see that high of level quarterback play. Two guys that are going Division I, AJ Brandt to Virginia Tech, Finley Polk to Gardner Webb, both actually Shrine Bowl quarterbacks this week as well. So we'll see them suiting up for Team South Carolina on Saturday. Chris says, which we can line up Northwestern Dutch Fork this week, see who the big dog is. It'll be a lot of fun, man. Be a lot of fun. And I don't know if that's something other states do. I don't know. I know South Carolina, I don't think he ever has, but it will be cool to see for sure. Kenneth says, Fish, best in the state. Hey, he was clutch, man. No nerves about him at all. Brandon says, Murph's a great receiver. Whoever gets him is getting a beast. Yeah, he's great size, great speed. It had 2 touchdowns on Saturday, a short one on an out route along with the deep ball we talked about there. He's a stud for sure.
Future Gamecock.
Riverside since 2006.
That was the last time Irmo played for state.
Gotcha.
Okay, 2006. Okay.
Gotcha. Lost to Gaffney.
Okay, I'm thinking the year before that. Okay. Thank you.
Irmo, 2 losses to Dutch Northwestern. Best 2 losses. Exactly right. I mean, you lose to the 5A Division II and the 5A Division I state champs. That's a pretty impressive season there for the Yellow Jackets.
I do want to pop in real quick. I know there was mention, Coach Knott said that Irmo might be the new football city USA. I think Rock Hill had to submit their status and bring that trophy back.
There's got to be some more NFL players.
And we're going to need to see some lasting effects too. We're going to need to see these boys be good for more than 1 year, 2 years in a row, keep stacking on top of it. So we'll see about that. I mean, both those areas are putting out some big time talent, big time teams right now. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Let's go to the last one, guys.
The 5A Division I matchup, the big boys, John, this is the Friday early slate game. Dutch Fork, they win their third in a row, 8 out of the last 9 seasons, taking down Summerville 35-21. An interesting ball game. Summerville comes out early, completes a 4th down touchdown pass. Cummings to Jaden Kelly Murray there. Dutch Fork answers back, and then we thought it was a big play at the time. Jaden Cummings going down for Summerville. He gets knocked out of the game there. I think his knee kind of got buckled up there. I'm not really sure. I'm not a doctor, of course, there, but seemed like it wasn't good. He doesn't come back in. But Cooper Kafina steps in and plays very well for Summerville. Hits a couple deep passes to Kelly Murray. They get some good runs out of Javen Williams as well. Play very good football for the Green Wave, but it's Dutch Fork, man, at the end. Too much firepower, too many defensive playmakers as well, and they win another state title for Coach Knotts.
Yeah, Dutch Fork, they've been doing it all year. They've been doing it for all decade, really. Yeah. But I was really impressed with Summerville as well. They could have – that team could have easily packed it up when Cummings went down because that was early in the game too. And gosh, stepping in that situation for that young man, the backup quarterback, that was a really, really good performance against the best defense in the state by far.
Oh, yeah.
He stood in there and, he played exceptionally well. His players around him, Murray Boyle,
Jaden Kelly Murray, outside.
Murray. I'm thinking about the Carolina basketball game. Murray Boyle, he stepped up. He played a really good game as well. He did his part for sure. And Summerville, this is another game where I felt like Dutch Fork, they really controlled the game for the most part, pretty much the entire day. But Summerville's not far behind.
They didn't go away. They did not go away.
They were not far behind. And, this was, again, we look at the team. We see a Dutch Fork team that just doesn't make mistakes. Very fundamental. They're going to make you beat them. And, Summerville played great. But Dutch Fork just made no mistakes. Dutch Fork made a couple once, turned the ball over once or twice. Yeah, Summerville could have had a chance to win this ball game. And they've got some, you see this young quarterback, I think he's a 10th grader.
I can't remember what year he is. I'm not sure.
Or maybe 11th grader. He'll be back next year.
Along with the running back and the receiver, too.
Yeah. Summerville is going to be really, really good again next year as well. Things are bright for the Green Wave, and it's good to see Summerville back playing Weekend of Champions again. Good to see Summerville playing well. It was a good game. I was very impressed with Summerville. I think just about everybody expected outside of Summerville probably to think, Dutch Fork will win this game. But hey, they put up more points than anybody else in the state.
That's true. I think they hadn't given up more than 14, right, until this week. And you do that with your backup quarterback as well. I think the key play there, I believe, Jerel, you remember the sequence better than I do. I want to say they got a stop, and they got the ball back down 7, and they kind of rolled out through a wheel route back, and Elgin Sessions picks it off for Dutch Fork. That was really the play of the game there, giving it right back to Dutch Fork there. And, Ethan Offing, a big game. Maurice Anderson had a great game out of the backfield, too, running and receiving there. Boykin Bickley, 2 big touchdowns for them. He was a huge weapon outside for Coach Knotts and the boys there. And the defense, every week we talk about it. Josh Smith, Riley Salters, Elgin Sessions, Smith as well. Too many playmakers there. Just that they kind of just wore the guys down. They didn't play their best, it felt like. Some of that was due to Summerville, of course, but they made just enough stops in the end there to win that ball game.
Yeah. They know what they know what they've got. They know what they can do. Bickley, that guy's a matchup problem.
Yes. Had a huge game.
Very big, tall, lanky receiver, and he played extremely well. Had 149, 2 touchdowns. Very good game. Yeah,
always fun to show out in the state title game, right? I mean, that's awesome there. And then Anderson, too, he kind of had the ceiling touchdown, broke one in the left sideline there. I think he went for like $130. He may have had 3 touchdowns, John. Do you remember exactly how many he had over there?
Let's see. He had 3.
Huge game out of him. A kind of an unsung hero coming to the year. People didn't really know much about him. He's been a great player for Coach Knotts and the boys. That's 3 in a row for them. Like I said, 8 out of 9, man. Just awesome to see what that program has been turned into there. A lot of fun to watch. Glad we got to see them. I do want to shout out again that offensive line, a group that gets overlooked a lot, man, and they did a great job not only blocking for Anderson, but also protecting Alfing back there too, giving him time all season long. A good group there that got the job done. And then obviously Coach Braswell's defense, the D-Lock defense there, as always, was tough. Jerel, comments from you on that 5A Division I matchup as Dutch Fork continues to roll and run the 5A ranks like they tend to do.
Yeah, I'll just talk about Summerville, just how impressed I was with their performance, especially, losing Cummings early in that game and how Kafina, who is a junior, just stepped up, to keep them in the football game. I mean, I told you guys this in the preview show last week. I saw Summerville. That's the first game I ever covered. They played Gaffney in 2021, the year Gaffney won a state title, and they had trouble completing a forward pass.
That was not
that was not a good thing. And here they are, just a few, short years later, really competing for a state championship. Got a lot of young guys coming back. We talked about the performances of the winning sides. Also, the losing sides, we had some great performances. Jaden Kelly Murray, I mean, absolute stud, played both ways, not just the long receiving plays. He also forced a fumble on defense, so, I mean, just a great performance by the landlord there.
I was about to say, give us the nickname, Jerel. Come
yeah,
on.
man. just couldn't be more impressed with what he was able to get done. I think Summerville's poised to make another run at it next year. And just going to Dutch Fork, they dictate the terms. They make you play their game. And even when they don't play their best, it's still just a little bit better than what you can put together. And that's just how good, how deep, and their commitment to it. I mean, Coach Knotts is one of the best in the history of high school football, regardless of the state. 16 titles. I mean, 9 in South Carolina. I mean, it's just unreal stuff. And you just got to tip your hat to the Silver Foxes, and they just continue to roll. They'll have to bring in some more pieces, especially on that defense, to kind of retool next year. But I'm sure they'll be poised to make another run. Might see a rematch in this one next year too.
Certainly could. Let's give some shout outs from the chat.
Let's get a couple comments real quick, and then we'll do that.
Perfect. Put them in here. Coach Knotts wins the 16th, says Brandon. Yeah, that's awesome to see, man. That's crazy. I mean, experience matters, says Riverside. Yeah, that's a big part of it too. A team that, like I said, expects to be there, knows what it's like on the big stage, certainly could play a factor, and I think it may have on Friday. Hey, Brianna says, I wish Summerville played the back quarter more than the regular season. And that's tough because, he played pretty well. Honestly, he did. And then obviously Jaden played well as well. Riverside says he's a junior. The quarterback that is number 4 and 9 are sophomores. That's for running back awesome. Javen Williams and Jaden Kelly Murray, both sophomores. So a lot returning there for the Green Wave. Jeffrey said did better than he thought they would. Backup played very well. Same. He certainly did. I mean, he made the throws he had to make. Like I said, the one pick there was really the kind of the key play in the matchup, but he played very well. Whoever gets Bickley gets a player. Exactly right. He's got great size, great speed. He's a big-time player out wide. Zach says he's finally here. The boys brought home the championship. First time in 15 years. Don't think we won't be back because what we're losing. We got a lot of kids from JV team coming up next year that will be studs next few years to come. That's it. Yeah, that's how you become a big-time program, John, when you start just reloading. You don't have down years. You get better and better and better. Zach says, shout out to Coach Campbell and the defense shutting down Barnwell offense. They gave up no points. No points at all. I mean, just the 6 on that kickoff return, really impressive what they did on that side of the football.
Those are the comments that we have so far.
Perfect. Let's shout out friends of the program before we get into some overall season recap topics we've got written down here to close out the show.
Preferred Home Services. How can we make you smile today? Preferred Home Services. For electrical or plumbing, cooling too. Go, 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 Preferred.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, Kona, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to kona.care to learn more.
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice. Okay, so we've got some overall season thoughts. DJ says, knew y'all jinxed us picking Westside. Hey, we were picking Westside all year long. I know Jerel and John didn't one time.
Yeah, there are a couple times I did.
But I think outside of that, we've been high on the Rams, man. That was a tough one for sure on Friday night, but a great ball game. Hopefully we get round 3 next year. It'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of fun to see, as I'm sure both teams will retool there. But, yeah, we've got some topics.
Hold on. I don't think we can blame us. They had a fan in the stands yelling at all the South Florence players going to the halftime. Maybe that's who jinxed y'all. I don't think
Fired them up.
Can't be doing that. I think that's called a freezing cold take, right?
That's right. But, yeah, we've got some overall season topics here. We got some suggestions from the crowd and whatnot. But let's start with this one, John and Jerel. Best games we saw this year. Now, I've got a handful written down. Obviously, the 2 state title games are right there, man. Westside, South Florence, Northwestern, Irmo are 2 of the better ones. But what are some other games that, Jerel, you or John, either one of you guys enjoyed checking out this year we got to see in person?
I really had a great time with the Loris-Dillon game. That was the first time I'd been to Loris. It was an awesome atmosphere. And it was kind of a statement game for Loris, right? To really solidify themselves as being, hey, we're we're going to be something to contend with this year. It was a good game. It was a good game. Loris ended up winning that game, of course, but it was fun, a lot of excitement, and electric atmosphere too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to steal your thunder, Kev. I know you got the whole season written down. I'm going to go week 0, Woodruff at Clinton. Started off the season. That was fantastic.
Had that one check.
Put Woodruff on the map. And then also going to Kevin's alma mater, down to PD, down to the lawn to see Bethesda and PD play. That was a lot of fun down there. I really enjoyed it. My first SCHSFB football game. So that was in week 9, I want to say.
Yep, I had that one too. A couple of ones I had outside of those we mentioned. Gaffney JL Man we saw back in week 1. Overtime game was a lot of fun there with the Indians winning that one. Jerel, one that we saw on a Thursday, TL Hanna at Wren, a game that came down to a fumble on the 1-yard line as Wren's going to tie it up. Great game there. And then the following night, Gaffney at Bowling Springs, another overtime matchup that the Indians pulled off a victory for with Jamarcus Smith having a big performance there. I've got Woodruff MVP, the game we saw at Newberry College back in week 8, a back-and-forth ball game there. And the last one I have, too, that we haven't mentioned, Dylan Newberry, round 2 of the playoffs. Man, an absolute shootout there. Yeah. Great ball game with Jamarion Fling going off, along with Caldwell for Newberry, a fantastic matchup between those two. Brandon, we were at that week 0 game. That was a great one.
And Daniel Capehart stepping in.
Big game for him.
Game for him.
Yep. Yeah, Dutch Fork Irmo, that was a great one, too. We were at that ball game as well. A great one there. 13,000 in attendance. I don't know if it was that many. I don't know how to judge there, but it was a packed house. That's for sure, man. That was a lot of fun to see that one. That was great. But if you guys are ready, we will move on to our next topic I've got here. Drew, any more things from you on the best games we saw? No,
you had everything that I had written down, so we're good.
Perfect. The next one, a bit of a tough one here. And it was tough for me to find some of these, but biggest upsets of the season. I don't know if you have on top of your head. I've got a list that I typed down from looking back through some stuff, but if you guys don't have any, I'll go through these right quick. Anything from you or John, Jerel?
I had week 3, Greer knocking off Burns. It was like, the first time in 24 years or something like that. That was the big one I had. Dreer, it was week 6, two in week 6. Loris and Dillon, I feel like that was a huge one. Hadn't beat them in like 50 years. And then Dreer knocking off R&E. That was huge. I know Will Wilson, that was around when he was out. So, but still, it was a big time win for Dreer there.
Yeah, a few more I've got. Back in week 2, we had 2 in week 2 actually. Central taking down Lamar. That was kind of when we figured out that Central is actually not bad. Like that kind of put them on the map there. And then another one too that, looking back, it probably wasn't an upset, but at the time it was. And that was Batesburg-Leesville beating Abbeville. I just don't think anybody picked Abbeville to lose a football game like that. So that was one that I had there. Week 7, Whitmire over Dixie. I think Dixie was undefeated at that point, and the Wolverines knocked them off there. I've got Dorman over Gaffney in week 9. Did not see that come. Gaffney was rolling. Dorman not playing great football. They get a big win there. And I've got 3 playoff ones, all from round 2. Gilbert over Bishop England, a Bishop England team that had been red hot and we thought could continue to roll. Gilbert knocks him off. Powdersville over Woodruff, a game that, Powdersville had I thought was getting better, but Woodruff looked really good. A big win for the Patriots there. And then Central again knocking off Saluda. A big win there as they took down the Tigers in round 2. So that's all the upsets I had, or best upsets from the season. Anything else you guys want to add to that list?
There was a game I'm looking, and it was Hunter Karen Tyler had a big one.
They beat was it Blackfield Hilda?
Blackfield Hilda.
Yeah.
9.
When I was thinking, they blew them out. I think
they did. It was not competitive. Yeah.
So that was when I remember that Friday going, whoa.
Yeah.
I thought HKT was pretty good. They might be really good.
Yeah.
That one stood out.
I'm going to skip this one. I think it's going to be the longest one. So let's go. A fun one here. Best stadium that you had to see this year, or more, just coolest, however you want to judge that. I've got a couple. Obviously, Wilder Stadium at Clinton. That's a fun place to go to a game. First time for me going to WC Hawkins at Irmo. I really thought that was a cool atmosphere. Going to see Irmo was cool. That's just a couple I had right away.
Yeah, and I love Loris. It was more so the environment than the stadium itself. Stadium was fine, but the environment was great. I mean, there was so many people at that game. It was loud, had a lot of energy. Chicken Bog as well at halftime. You got Chicken Bog at a game. It's hard to top that. And then Chester. I hadn't been to Chester in a long time. It's a cool stadium. You got the kids running down the very steep hill,
dangerous hill,
coming to the stadium. And what I really like and they got a great press box too. But on the concession stand, they've got some NFL helmets of NFL players. And then on the side of the press box, which I think every high school should do this, they've got everybody from every year that went to a North-South game or a Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
So that was really cool going through, seeing the history. And Chester's got there's some really good talent that has come through that Chester program. That was a cool stadium to go to as well.
Yeah, a couple more I had. Bettis Hurlong at Saluda was a cool. That's my first time being there. That was really cool. Mike Warefield at Newberry. A really nice facility there, it felt like there. And then also, I couldn't remember the name of it, Jerel. You may know, Wren. I don't know what their stadium's called, but I thought
don't either.
Cool. You saw, kind of the old, I think the visitor side now used to be the home side. There's a huge hurricane, like the logo, painted on it. Really cool set up there, I felt like, too, for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I had Wilder as well. I don't think we'll ever be invited back there. Clinton has lost the games that we have been to the
We'll just show up in some incognito mode.
The mustache.
I also had WC Hawkins. That was my first time going to Irmo. That was a lot of fun. Blackville Hilda, that was a cool environment. They packed that place out. Had some Duke's barbecue before that game. It was fantastic. PD, the lawn, that was my first time. That was just a great environment. Awesome people there. Had a fantastic experience there. And the last one I went to Hanahan this year, Wiley Knight. Another one, just fantastic people there. They came out on the wrong end of the game, but could not be more hospitable. Loved going to Wiley Knight this year.
And so this next category I've got here is one that you guys kind of teased a little bit there. Best concession of the season. I had 5 that stood out to me above the rest. And I'll go ahead with those. I'll put a couple of them out there. Chester. The problem with Chester, it was a great hot dog. The process took a while to get through the process. We'll put it that way. Well, we missed a little bit of the game. I think we missed the first drive there in the line, but great hot dog there at Chester. And then Irmo as well had a really good chili dog too. Another one that really jumped out to me.
I liked Saluda. I know I liked Saluda for the World Peanuts a couple years ago. Went back, had a great 2 hot dog deal this year. So I took a full advantage of that. That was pretty good. And of course, chicken bog at Loris.
Yeah.
It was very good. I tell you what, Dylan has still got the best chicken bog that I've had at the game, but Loris is very good too. But yeah, I like the dogs at Saluda. They were great. Those are the best hot dogs I had this year.
Yeah, I had Wren as well. And what's cool about them too, Jerel, if you remember this, it was like
ice cream.
That ice cream. Oh, I got ice cream sandwich. That's right. Ice cream sandwich at Wren. That's true. But I'll say the cheese was not like the melted cheese. It was like the what's it called? Like the out of the bag cheese.
Like shredded cheese?
Yes, it was shredded cheese on the hot dog.
Yes.
Which I thought was really cool there. And then another one too, I think that we kind of forgot about because we were only there for half of the game. South Point had a good hot dog.
Okay.
They did. I did forget about them. No, this is where I spent the most research.
We know what number 1 is, Jerel. I'm just gonna save it for you.
Not even close, PD. Head and shoulders above everybody. Mike's Grill, best chili, second best chili I've had, but obviously the best of the year. So good. I had Wren as well. Great selection.
That's some fair kind of food there. It was really cool.
Very, very efficient, and it was a Thursday night. So it was a short week. They still had everything humming there with the selection. Give kudos to Wren. Louisville, another one. Good hot dog, but they still had food well into the third quarter. So you got to give them kudos for that. Very rarely happens. BHP, good hot dog there we had there late. Great prices. That was the big thing for me there. Clinton gets a shout out there. That was the first week. And then Strom Thurmond, fried bologna sandwiches. Yeah, got to give them kudos for that.
Yeah, that was an interesting one there too. That was a day where we made a mistake too, try to get some food beforehand, and the place was closed. So glad they had some food at the Rebels game there at the Peach Fields for sure, man. That was a good setup there. So this next one here, kind of an odd one where actually there should only be one answer, but I wrote down 3 answers because you guys know me. I like to shout at everybody, it feels like. But favorite region of the state to follow, not region 1, 2, but just like area, I guess, as a whole, whether it's the Midlands or the Upstate or the CSRA or the Low Country. Or what jumped out to you? So I've got 3, and I'm probably going to pick the one that you guys don't pick and just go that way.
I really like the whole PD area. It was good to see. Lakeview, they had a really good season this year. Lamar did really well. And then that one region with Dillon, Marlboro County.
I think Loris is considered PD too. I would say.
Well, they're in
It's
that
on the
region.
edge.
They're
It's
in
on
that
the edge.
region.
Yeah.
They're on the edge. I know Lamar's
Yeah.
kind of on the edge too. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're in the region. So,
Hartsville, Darlington, those are PD area,
Yeah.
I would say, along with Mullins. Big season for the Yawks.
Yeah.
They had a great showing this year too.
So really good competitive football. Some high profile programs like Lakeview and Lamar playing well. Some good battles within a region that 3A region, the PD. All the hoopla with what went around Marlborough County was interesting, and quite the storyline there. Hartsville, one of the most exciting teams in the state to watch this year. I really enjoyed the PD region, and hey, throw in Jerel. Jerel had a good year.
Yeah, that's true.
Year.
Great call there.
They did well too. Really good. Good year for the PD.
Yeah, Jerel, who did you like? What area of the state this year were you really enjoying?
I want to show the Low Country some love here. I think there were some really cool stories there. From the top, got a lot of, especially in the Charleston area, you got a lot of those Division I 5A teams there. But Summerville was a great story. Berkeley's continuing to build. Philip Simmons was another team. We thought they lost too much, especially in that backfield. They were still able to make a run there. The story with Bishop England going from 2A to 4A, and then just winning that region. That whole region 6 was a lot of fun to keep up with in 4A. So I think Low Country, as far as like the storylines, it was a lot of fun to keep up with them this year.
Well, then I'll say the two that you guys didn't say. One of them, the Midlands, but I kind of narrowed it down to really, I just felt like following the Dutch Fort Irmo storyline was really cool. Like two teams kind of across town there was really neat to see. And then I always forget, I think it's called the Piedmont. Is that what we're kind of calling the Rock Hill, Chester County?
Piedmont, yeah.
York County area. Okay. Because I thought it was really cool seeing how good Northwestern South Point were this year. Two teams that were really, really good. And then Louisville at a lower level, along with Chester. You kind of had 4 stud teams there in that area that were really cool to follow. And all of them made pretty good runs as well in the playoffs, it felt like.
Yeah, it was good to see. Fairfield Central's on that border. Fairfield Central had a really good season as well.
For sure. This next one here, it kind of came to me like an hour ago when I was looking through some stuff. Best coach or player interview that we had this year. And I'll say the reason it jumped out to me is because how much fun I had interviewing Cameron Vance on Saturday night. Man, just a ball of energy, man. Great talking to him. He had a great personality. He was a lot of fun to talk to. Like all these kids we talked to are always great to interview after the game. It's always great. But he had just a great, enigmatic kind of personality there that really enjoyed talking to him. He was one for sure. Also had a couple guys from Gaffney, Javon Gilmore, Andrew Root back from that JL Man game. They had great interviews as well after a great ball game there. That was a lot of fun. And I also had one of them that you interviewed, Jerel, was AJ Brandt. His interview after that River Bluff game was super cool to talk to him and hear from him. And he had some great stuff to say there too. So anybody else that jumped out to you, it could be even a coach from preseason or whatever that you want to throw in there.
Man, you really put me on the spot because I did not know that we were going to do this. The Batesburg-Leesville kids, Amadre Wooden and Britt, that was a lot of fun. Witt, excuse me. Keeping up with those guys was a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of a coach that really got after it. Always like talking to Coach Usher at Louisville. We had him in the preseason as well, so he was a lot of fun. But yeah, AJ Brand was great. All of the kids we interviewed, man, it is hard to do this stuff, and they are so professional. They get better and better, especially as we get better and better because we sucked when we first started doing this.
But I still suck.
So it is really cool to see how they progress and how each year they really get after it and love the excitement, especially after a big performance. Getting to talk to them, it's a lot of fun.
For sure. So the other one that I've got here that I skipped earlier because I knew it's going to take a while. Favorite players to watch in 2024. I told you guys all fair. I was like, if I do this, I'm going to name half the damn state. So I'm going to try not to do that. If y'all want to shout out a couple that y'all like to watch, do that. Or if you have any other thoughts or anything else, we'll kind of go through this.
Yeah, the initial ones that pop out there are probably on everybody's list. Marquez Henderson was electric to watch this year. I'll say TJ Morse at Woodruff.
Yeah,
had
great
a lot
call
of
there.
fun watching him at that Mountain View game. The safety at Northwestern, Tamarian
Watkins.
I mean, that guy.
If you're a Power 5 coach watching the show, offer that kid today. All right.
Yes. Offer him in person.
Yeah. He's a stud.
He was a lot of fun to watch. Those are the ones that jump off the page to me, right off the bat. Aiden Manavian was fun to watch this past weekend. That guy is, he has fun. He has a lot of fun with it. And, that's good to see. And some great personalities. I thought I was very impressed with AJ Brand this year.
He had to be Gatorade Player of the Year. Hats off to him. That got announced last week at some point. So awesome to see AJ get that award. Yeah, and certainly deserving.
And I thought the same way with Lenore Sellers last year. Like just a kid that you can tell, man, this guy gets it.
Yeah.
This guy, this is a leader.
Yeah,
he's not a athlete, football player, whatever. No, he's a leader. He's a good kid. I saw that out of AJ this year, and that was really really good kid. He's going to be a big time asset at Virginia Tech. Really pulling for him, see him do big things.
For sure. Jerel, do you want to start naming folks? Do you want me to start naming folks? How do you want to do it?
Oh man, I should have wrote this down. I'm going to try to freestyle, but yeah, you got to start AJ Brand, Finley Polk. I mean, quarterback play is just crazy. Ethan Offing, Maurice Anderson, my first time seeing him. All those defensive studs that we've seen at Dutch Fork all these years. Salters and Smith,
Simon
and Sessions.
Yeah.
We saw some great running back play as well this year. Obviously, Quez Henderson, Jalen McGill, going to Woodruff, seeing those kids, man. Yeah. Aiden Gibson, TJ Morris. Like I said, going back to Batesburg, Leesville, Tanner Watkins, Madre Witt. I mean, the list just continues to go. Michael Doe, Pickett Hicks, Currents. I mean, it's. I know you're going to touch on most everybody in the Super 75. Seeing Caden Ramsey this week, finally seeing Carmelo Jones was awesome. I mean, just so many great players. Cam Austin, Logan Sturkey. I mean, the list can just go on. I don't want to leave anybody out because I didn't want to write 3 pages like you did. So I'm sure you'll hit most of them.
Same.
Devarian Coe at Hartsville.
Yes, Dirty Coe.
Patrick.
Yeah. And
Waters.
If we leave somebody out, we apologize. Like, we just don't want to make the show last a year and a half.
We'll think of 50 other kids in 20 minutes after the show's over, too.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Isham, Tristan Lewis, Caleb Sutton, Frank Starks, LaDania Martin, Messias Morrison there, Brandon Cunningham, KD Patterson, Zeke Belcher, Lincoln Husky, Polite there for the Javen Chim.
KD Patterson, one of the best catches we saw all year.
Yeah. Jaquavius Dodd, Gilmore and Roop, and Jamarcus Smith at Gaffney, Zay Landrum there at Riverside, at Burns Riverside, Mikkel Skinner and Gideon McMurray and Jaden Taylor, Spartanburg, Trenton Lynch, Cam Smith, Landon Stone, Sequel Patterson, Northwestern, obviously Cam Vance, Finley Polk, Dowling on defense, Watkins on defense, Nichols, Zymir Gordon, Miles, Matthew Fish, Malik Clark there at Rock Hill, Watkins at Rock Hill, Brady Albro, Stone Furry. You mentioned the Dutch Fork guys already. Irmo, you mentioned, Brand, of course, and then Jaden Bryant and Donovan Murph, River Bluff, Stephen Collier, Aaron Griffin, Landon Sharp. Of course, I'll give him a shout out at White Knoll there, the Geronimo's as well. Blythewood, Sterling Sanders, Lugoff Elgin, the lineman, Christian Smith there, Ridgeview, Trey Howard, Jordan Gidron, all those guys, Christian Jackson, Sumter with Peoples and Richardson, and I can't look, the other running back, Fortune there, West Florence with those boys there for Coach Jerel, what he's doing with that program. Sorry, I got a text message over there. Myrtle Beach, John Simmons and Brown and those guys there. For North Myrtle Beach, you had the running back who was a stud for them this year. Berkeley, Henry Rivers. Guys, I'm not even through 5A yet.
Caden Bash.
Bash, yeah. We got Jaden Bam DeWeese, Ashley Ridge, Ryan Small at Fort D. You mentioned Summerville guys with Williams and Kelly Murray and all that crew there for them. Sam Holiday.
Everybody.
Bobar and Weaver and Evans and Woods, all the guys at Westside.
Sherrod Richardson.
Sherrod Richardson, of course, got to shout him out. Jamison Wilson as well, Wren with Bagwell and Price, what they did there. The Daniel guys, Grayson Clary, that whole crew out wide for him. Camden, of course, JoJo Krim, loved seeing him play. Navi Boykin, Tylen Drake for Wyatt Thompson, all those guys. R&E, Will Wilson, of course, there. Blake Patet out wide, South Point McMillan and Currents and Pickett Hicks and just stud after stud. Victor Gore as well, Anthony Baxter, all those guys there for them. Gilbert, you had Connor Gooding, Gray Collegiate. You had the studs with BJ Montgomery and Tyler Waller, all those guys. North Augusta, Tillman and Doe and Brown. South Aiken, Juju Edwards, the coastal commit for them. Hartsville, you mentioned Coe and Waters already, along with the quarterback, and then obviously Spann as well out wide. South Florence, talked to those guys ad nauseum earlier. Huge group there for them. Let's see, the Hilton Head Island, Troy Timko was a big stud for them. He played well. BHP, Henderson, and Watson Martin and those guys there. While Holland and Robinson had a player week for us, huge season there. Christchurch, Tucker Hendricks and Jude Hall. Jackson Rep season got cut short early, but still fun to watch him. Powdersville, Keegan Reed, Elijah Huggins. Let's see, where are we at now? Mountain View, Jalen McGill, Hainsworth, Drummond, all that crew there for them. Woodruff, Morris, Gibson, Moats, those boys there. Keenan, the brothers, I can't think of their last name right now, the receivers. I think Sutherland's the quarterback, and I'm the receivers. Sorry, boys, I know we're talking about that. We got you there. Newberry, Caldwell, and Howes, and those guys. Dylan, of course, Jamarion Fling was super fun to watch. Daniel Capehart as well.
I want to see more of House. We ain't
throwing the ball.
Didn't get the ball much.
Throwing the ball. At Loris, obviously the running back Stevens and Percha, and then obviously Zamir Moon Jerel at quarterback with Lewis out wide for them as well.
Who's the guy on the defensive line?
Javon Johnson stud there for them.
Truck.
Marlboro County, they had a great season before that kind of got unraveled there. They had the defensive studs as well. Justin Purvis is one that was a big-time player for them as well.
Ja'Carrion Keenan.
Ja'Carrion Keenan. You had Hippenstill at Hanahan. Obviously, Aiden Manavian, Will Virgilio, Gaspar, Moorman, Kale Gilchrist, all the studs at Oceanside Collegiate we mentioned there. They had a great season there. Blacksburg, Josh Sims, his crew, the offense that they had there. All the Clinton guys we mentioned earlier. We're getting close to the end, guys, I promise here. Strom Thurmond, Jay Sewell was a lot of fun to watch. He had a huge game in that playoff game there. He played really well for them, along with Caleb Simpkins. Saluda, JT Lott was fun. Batesburg, Leesville, you mentioned those guys, Wooden and Witt and Watkins, Chester, Trooper Floyd. Federal Central, Tadarian Greer, what he did was awesome to see. Sherrall.
Back at Chester as well.
Yes, Caleb Feaster. Yeah, Caleb Feaster, yes. Chesterfield, Quay Clark, Sherrall. You had Gordon and you had Joint and just that whole crew all year long for Coach Poole had a great season. You mentioned Barnwell, Cam Austin, Jaquan Peoples. Hampton County with Singletary there had a great year. Let's see who else we're looking at. Desmond Green at Timberland was a lot of fun to follow. Brandon Cumby at Andrews was great to see. Manning, that three-headed monster that kept showing up in the playoffs, had a great season for them. Abbeville, Leach, Norman, all that crew there for them. Lamar, Zori Pierce, Zoom Jackson, Louisville, all those boys there was strong.
Kendall Walton.
Walton and all those guys there for Louisville as well. Zach Rogers, Jaquel Holman at Blackfield Hilda was fun to follow. Chanston Crosby, of course, remember Gerhart, he was great. Javaris Logan, Marcus Cann as well. Cross, Carmelo Jones, Caden Ramsey. Lakeview, you had Tyrell Foxworth, Case and Herlong as well. Jamarcus Williams, Hannah Pamplico, Wade Poston. I think that's it, guys. That's the whole list. I'm going to stop now before I keep. Actually, skis the guys. You got Michael Tyler there at Hammond. You got Jeremiah Singleton at Pinewood. Let's see, Milling Galloway, Ford Wilder at Wilson Hall. All the PD kids, Miles Trussell, Tristan Heckman, Colby Richardson, that whole crew getting it done for them. Tonio Banner at Thomas Hayward was fun to watch. Colt Bailey there at Warlaw. Richard Charlie Bond, Richard Wynn was great to see. Lots of studs all across those ranks. Conan Benny Heathwood, great call there, John, as well. Another one, Caleb Ford at Cardinal Newman.
So you got Mike Tyler at Hammond?
Yep, Mike Tyler. Okay, I'm going to stop with that. If we think anybody else missed somebody, I apologize. I want to shout out to everybody. I'm so sorry if I missed you. We enjoy watching all you guys play. I promise we did. Last thing I did have, biggest surprise teams this year.
My biggest surprise was Greenwood. I
Oh,
was really
good one.
impressed with Greenwood stepping up to 5A this year. Another really good program. They've been okay at the 4A level the last few years. They played great this year at the 5A level. I got the first round bye in the playoffs. They were really good, and they were really good from start to finish. Very competitive week in, week out. It was good to see Greenwood, and making that jump from 4A to 5A. That's tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough jump, and they performed extremely well. I was impressed with Greenwood.
Yeah, a couple of guys I've got Loris on the list. I was high on Loris all year long, but I feel like they still kind of surprised folks. Like they had a great season there for the Lions. Fairfield Central, a team that we did not see having that kind of run they did all the way to the Upper State Final, had a great year there for Coach Davis. Central, with Coach Eason coming in year one, taking them to the playoffs. I think third round of the playoffs as well. Great year for them. Batesburg-Leesville, a team that made a deep run. Really impressive with them. Bishop England, maybe the story of the year, won 8 games, moving up to 4A. Great season for Coach Hall and the boys. Orangeburg Wilkinson had a nice run. Coach Carter, I think they won 7 or 8 games there.
Keenan had a really good year.
Keenan's a big one there, along with HKT. They had the big one about the hill. They were big. And then Mullins, the Auctioneers, they go winless last year. I think they started all 6-0 this year, end up winning 7 games. Awesome to see there for Coach Lowry. Anybody you want to add to that list there, Jerel?
Did we say Batesburg?
We did. We did.
Okay. Yeah. Just trying to go through my head spinning right now. So yeah, Batesburg's a good.
Woodruff,
yeah.
This year.
That's a good one too.
Crescent with their playoff run, Crescent.
Yes.
Brandon, shout out to you for that one.
Crescent going to third round. Great call there, Brandon. From our buddy Zach said, who did we pick preseason? So we didn't pick a title winner. We picked a title matchup. In 1A, John and I had Abbeville Bamberg. Jerel had Abbeville and Bamberg or Cross, so he was kind of right there.
Wow.
2A, I had Clinton Barnwell. John had Chester Hampton County. Jerel had Chester Barnwell. 3A, we all had BHP Oceanside, so we all hit that one right. 4A, we all had Westside South Florence, so we all hit that one right. 5A, we didn't know the breakdown of Division 1 and Division 2, so we didn't really give picks there. We just named off a bunch of favorites, so we didn't really pick in the 5A there. But also, Zach is requesting way too early 2025 predictions, guys. Who wants to go first?
Let's see. I don't want to go. I can't go by class because I just don't know enough of who's coming back and who's graduating. But what I do know, from what I am aware of, Woodruff is going to be really good again next year.
Yep.
They are going to be a problem for a lot of people. And there's one other school that I feel like is really young that's going to be up there as well. Maybe Newberry.
Newberry's got some good pieces back. They got some good pieces back.
Kids.
Yeah.
It'll come to me.
Yeah. 1A is hard not to look at what
Abbeville.
I mean, they've got to be the favorite, you would think, probably. 2A is interesting too, because Clinton loses a lot of pieces. They got some big boys back, but still a bit of some turnover there in 2A. I think Jerel is a favorite in 2A as well. They've got a lot of guys coming back from that team this year. Batesburg-Leesville as well. They'll have Wooden back in the backfield. They'll be a loaded bunch in 2A. 3A, I think Dillon's a team to look at. They got a young quarterback stepping in who I think is going to be the truth. You have a lot of weapons. You have a lot of weapons back in MVP, like Jerel said, Jalen McGill running the rock with Woodruff. 3A is going to be a lot of fun next year. That'll be a great class to follow. Oceanside, of course, with the studs. They got the quarterback, Aiden Monavian's back. They'll be awesome to watch. 4A, it's hard not to look at what Westside South Florence have done and say they're going to be there again. I mean, just, they have become known commodities now.
Yeah. And
just rolling the last couple of years for sure in 4A. And then 5A, Northwestern has a lot back, replaced the quarterback. Figure that out. We'll see. And then, obviously Dutch Fork in 5A is hard not to pick those guys in Summerville as well. Like you said,
Irmo as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Summerville is the other one I was thinking of. Summerville, very young. I think they're going to be, if I had to pick right now, Summerville, going back to Orangeburg.
Yeah. Jerel, any comments from the chat? The last one we got to do our pick 'em, which we'll do after the next commercial break. But anybody else wanted to hop in from the comments from the chat real quick? JD says, big Abbeville state title champs, man. Good chance again next year to win it. Brandon says, tough season opener. Clinton plays at Woodruff. That'll be a fun game. May go to that one. Heck, we'll see. That'll be a good one to check out. Chris says, what's up for us during the off season? relaxation for one. But we'll start doing some new coach interviews here pretty soon, Chris. Once some of these guys move around, we'll try to get them on and have them talk about their program and their plans for that community. We'll get those guys on. We got some other cool stuff planned too, maybe some player interviews, things like that. But we won't be doing weekly shows. Of course, we'll still have some stuff here and there to kind of pop out and keep you guys up to date. If y'all have
coaching carousel show at some point,
we'll do that. As always, if you guys have ideas, stuff you want to see, feel free to send it in to us. Love to do it. If you think there's something, if it's something we could feasibly do, we're certainly happy to try it and get the word out there about these guys. But Jerel, let's shout out friends of the program one more time before we get into our pick'em results from the playoffs.
At HTC, we're here to keep you connected. Here to provide reliable fiber optic internet with free, fast, and secure HTC Smart Wi-Fi. HTC, here to connect.
Facing unexpected expenses and need a quick play? A personal loan from Founders Federal Credit Union can help you cover costs and get back in the game. With competitive rates and flexible terms, a personal loan from Founders is the winning play. Whether it's for a big purchase or an emergency, we've got you covered. Visit foundersfcu.com/personal to get started. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
Our Pick'em contest brought to you by Hannah Engineering. We wrapped it up last week with the state titles. Jerel, who were our leaders in that state title weekend? We had one perfect score, only one perfect score there. Dexter with the big 6 spot. Lots of 5s there. John, you and I had 5. Jerel with 4. Lots of big scores there. And now our overall winner for the playoffs is Ryan W., a 42 spot. He wins a close one over Jeffrey. I believe he outscored Jeffrey by 1 that last round to clinch it there at 42. Jeffrey, great job, 41. Then a bunch of folks with 39, 38. I think I was a typo on 37 there. Sorry, Pat. I had 36. John, 34. Jerel, 35. So hats off to Ryan. Ryan, look out for your email. I'll send you one and try to get your information, get you your prize in the mail here pretty quickly around the holidays. Appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in for that. It's a lot of fun to do the Pick'em contest brought to you by Hannah Engineering. We'll do it again next year. We'll have a regular season one along with the playoffs. We're going to try. We'd love to have prizes for every week. We would love to do that. Right now, it's not in the budget. So if you guys have some suggestions for that, we'd love to have that as well. But it's a lot of fun to keep up with that. So appreciate Hannah Engineering, as always, for sponsoring that. Shout out to our teams of the week, powered by Preferred Home Services. All the state title winners, of course, are those teams of the week. We'll have our playoff performers brought to you by Georgia. See, those will drop on Wednesday. We'll put out all those great performances from this weekend, winners and losers who had great showings. But I guess the other thing, too, Jerel, I forgot, is our polls, our final polls of the year. Let's start with the 1A and 2A polls. Nope, I will do 5A, whatever. All right, 1A and 2A. No surprise, the state title winners are number 1 there. Abbeville goes down to Louisville. We got back-to-back upper state in 1A there. And then 2A, fairly similar. Not much to say about that, really. I think it kind of shook out kind of how we thought it would there, John.
Yeah.
In the 3A and 4A ranks, once again, state title winners are the champs there. A little bit of a surprise maybe in 3A. Wasn't really sure what to do with Dillon. I felt like they play Oceanside better than anybody. I was like, do you put them at 2? I don't know. But they finished in that 5 spot for us. 4A, South Florence rolls there and gets that champion, or gets that number 1 spot, of course, in 4A. And then 5A, Division 1 and Division 2. The state champs, Northwestern and Dutch Fork, will be in those 1 spots there once Jerel flips over to that screen. There we go. White Knoll, their big playoff run earns them a number 3 spot there. Gaffney 4, Greenwood 5. In Division 1, not a big surprise there, really. River Bluff, a team that you feel like had some tough luck. Their only losses all year were to Dutch Fork twice and Irmo. So tough to get some better losses than that for sure. I guess, Irmo and River Bluff probably had the best losses of the year. The teams those guys lost to. But those are our final polls. We'll put those out probably tomorrow to get those posted. But John, Jerel, any more thoughts on this 2024 season as we kind of wrap up the show in the season here?
Yeah, it's tough knowing that it's December 17th and we're going to have to wait 9 more months for you to do this again. Just a really fun season. And I feel like the talent level and the depth of the talent level across the state was incredible this year. And I think it's going to continue for the next couple of years. There's a ton of, you talk about sophomores and juniors that are very, very talented that we're going to see playing next couple of years too. It's really, really fun time. Can't wait to get to August.
Jerel, thoughts from you on 2024?
This might be the most fun season that I've had since we've been doing this, man. I just had a blast. I really enjoyed them splitting up 5A, so we got another state championship game and just more football to talk about in general. Just want to talk about how great this state is, how much resolve was shown. We had that natural disaster come through right in the middle of the season, and no one really budged. I mean, these communities rallied around one another, and we were able to just, still get high-quality football, even though we went through some tough times, especially in the upper part of the state and that CSRA region. So kudos to everybody who was able to make it through that. Hopefully no one was affected too bad. But just a really, really fun season, man. I enjoyed watching these players play. Some great teams, like John mentioned, man. The talent this year was through the roof, and we saw it showcased, all throughout the playoffs, really, but especially in Orangeburg. And then finally, my campaign for the year, I'm going to ask everybody, write your state rep, write your state senator. We have got to get our state championship game back at Williams-Brice in Columbia. I feel like that's going to be all 2025 for me. So throughout the offseason, I'm going to work my hardest to get it done. I ask you to do the same thing. We got to get this thing back in Willie B.
I think some coaches would agree with you as well.
Yeah, that would be great to see for sure. And like I said, we're going to have our full recap show coming out later on this week on the podcast platforms. And I had a list of folks that we got to see in Orangeburg. I was going to read off. I was like, it's going to take a while, so I just did the podcast there. Because I felt like every game, John and Jerel, people were coming up to us, yelling at us. Like, it was really cool to meet a lot of new faces, man. That was awesome to get to talk to you folks down there and getting to kind of help grow this community, man. Because it's been really cool to see who all we've gotten to meet throughout the state doing this show. But as always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, website movingchains.com, podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We'll be back next year doing our Tuesday night preview shows. We'll have our recap shows. We'll have, coach interviews on this offseason, all kinds of great stuff there. We're going to try to maybe work on getting a figure out for the spaces. I know we didn't do as many of those this year because it was just tough for us driving around. Yeah. May have a plan for that. Brent says we'll be going to the Shrine Bowl in North-South. Maybe stop by the Shrine Bowl for a little bit. We'll see. The Clemson game being that afternoon kind of makes it a little bit tough there to check out all. We may stop by Spartanburg for a little bit Saturday afternoon. We'll see how that shakes out. But last pitch to please get your Movin The Chains merch. Richardson hats here, gray front, black back, gray back, black front as well. Great Christmas presents. Order those now, mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. We've got great T-shirts, a black T-shirt, a gray T-shirt, a navy blue, and a pink as well. Great hoodies, a gray hoodie, along with kind of a ash or a white color stone as well. Get your hoodies today. Get your toboggans today. Support the boys. This will help us make the show bigger and better. So love to have you guys repping our stuff and showing off and helping us grow the program. And I say this a lot too, but high school football is so loved in this state. And I think that we've got a decent audience that we've grown to. We've got, 5,000 plus followers on this and 6,000 plus on Twitter and yada, yada, yada. There are a lot more folks who love high school football than that. So if you don't mind, tell your friends, man, share it and let them know, man. We love to have more and more tune in. It's so much fun having you guys talk to us, in the show. Like, it's great to get your feedback because we always say we can't go to every game. We really can't. So y'all know some of these teams better than we do. So love to hear your feedback on that. But hopefully you continue to share that and make it get bigger and bigger.
Oh yeah, for sure. Take any kind of help and advice we can get.
Yeah, for sure. Any thoughts for the show? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. You can send us a DM or whatever you want to do. We'll love to get that. But Jerel, any final thoughts? John, any final thoughts here as we close down for 2024?
I loved every bit of it. And, very appreciative that everyone that says, hey, and says, hey, I watch you guys. Love hearing that. Love it. Appreciate it. We do this for fun, but it's great to hear. Great to hear people are actually watching and appreciate it as well.
I just want to thank, all of the players because they make this all possible. All of the coaches, the administrators that allowed us to get to these games, everybody who credentialed us as media, all of the people who cover high school football in their particular region of this state. Want to thank them. We've been able to develop relationships with them as well. Everyone who's become a fan of our show, we thank every single one of you for following us. We really do appreciate it. And I want to thank our sponsors as well. I mean, we had some really awesome sponsors and founders: HTC, Hannah Engineering, Folly Row, Preferred, everybody, George Agency, everybody, first team, everybody who's jumped on board to really help us, fund this coverage. So appreciate that so much.
Certainly great point to appreciate them and appreciate you guys. I said it on our, John and I filmed a little video as we were leaving Orangeburg Saturday night, man. It really does mean a lot what you guys have helped us grow this into. It's been something that we were doing, on a couch, on an iPad, how many years ago now. We're a little bit more legitimate of a setup, not a whole lot more, but it looks cooler, right? And it's been really cool to see how much this has grown. So I appreciate you guys helping us do that. It's been really cool. But we're always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Has been the Movin The Chains State Championship and Season Recap Show. For Jerel, Hendricks, and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas, and we'll see you guys soon.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.